All right, we're live. Welcome, guys, to another episode of Chat with the Optimist, episode number 3. Welcome. So today, we're going to be doing another Photoshop alternative, just like Pixlr, but this one is called GIMP. Now, GIMP's been around for quite a while, and full disclosure, I hadn't really used it until just this past 20 minutes before I set up the stream. And it is a software. So this has been around for quite a while and very popular with graphic designers. So we're just going to jump right into it. So let me set up my screen share. Okay. Here we go. Now let me just adjust my little screen here. How much do I want to cover? Let's put myself over here, or just completely like out. Yeah, down here. That would be good. Update. Cool. So let's hop right into GIMP. Crash report. That's not good. All right, so let me just actually move StreamYards over to my other screen so make sure everything's up properly. If you have any comments, we'll be checking from time to time. If you have anything you want to, questions or anything you want to say. All right, so this is GIMP, just like Photoshop. So the first thing we're going to do, unlike Pixlr, where it takes you step by step, a step-by-step process, GIMP instead just throws you right in. You have tons of options here right away, so it can be a little overwhelming. But the first thing we're going to do is go up to File, and then New, File, New, and now we have this little window here. So we have options for some templates. Now, it's not like Pixlr where it has stuff for like YouTube and Instagram and printing. This is more just straight up the numbers. So we can choose a template or input it ourselves. Now, what pixels means is pretty much pixels on the screen. So this right here, 1920 by 1080, this is the standard HD. Now, if we were to change this pixels into inches, we can see what this really is. 6 inches by 3.5 inches. 6.5 by 3.5. So you could choose either or. Like this would be good for printing, but if you're doing something on the computer, this is good for Pixlr. So we are gonna select. Let's make a thumbnail. Okay. And let's select. Well, this is our canvas right here, so it automatically makes it white. And our layers are down here to the bottom right. So we can turn them on and off with this little eye. And this, I think this is the lock. No, it's not. What is this then? If we hover over it, sometimes it tells you. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but is there a way to lock this? I don't think there is. Unfortunately, I don't think there is a lock in GIMP, as far as I know. Might be hiding somewhere. But yeah, this is how we control our layers down here. So if we want to make a new layer, we just click this little plus button with the paper, and this will make us a new layer. We can name it what we want. Let's say drawing for this layer. We can add a tag for better organization. So let's make it red to see what happens. And okay, this is the link. Okay, that's what it was. But let's see if anything else would be useful to you guys. We can choose, by default, it's going to be empty, so it's transparency, but we can also make it a background color or automatically fill it. But let's just do an empty layer. So you see here, this layer has a red background, signifying that it's good for organization, especially if you have like 20 different layers and it's a good idea to actually name them. But if you're only, you're only going to have a few of them, then it's okay to just do have it generic names like layer 1, layer 2. All right, so let's start exploring the tools on here. So the first thing I'm going to go to is to this top left. This is where most of the tools, it looks like it's going to be. So let's start off with the paintbrush. Standard stuff. Unlike the Pixlr episode, I'm not gonna go into depth with everything. So you should know now how to use a paintbrush and little settings. But let me actually show you the settings on here. So it looks like here it's a little different where we have these bars and we can just automatically shift them to what we want. And like usual, the to undo, you can use Control Z, or we have the undo button down here. I think that's what it is. So let's see. No, that's not it. Is this it? No, I think that's just resetting to default values. I don't think there is a undo button unless I'm missing it somewhere, which is kind of weird. So you're going to have to use Control Z for if you want to undo something. And if you want to redo it, you can do Control Z Shift, or okay, that didn't work. So clearly not, you can't do that. So let me make the layer again. Red. Okay. So I don't know how to redo in that case. But anyway, let's play around more of the settings. See the paintbrush here, aspect ratio. What's that? Okay. That's interesting. You can flatten it. Just make it 0 or 12. Okay, so it looks like these bars, you slide them back and forth, but if you want it back to the default, just click that little undo arrow. Angle. Let's see. Oh, wait, we have to change the aspect ratio for this. Yeah, if you want a little bit of a stylish angle. Spacing. Okay, so like you can make polka dots, or you can have just straight up lines. Let's see if we change the aspect ratio now. Okay. Hardness. Okay, so instead of having a rounded edge, you can make it like a marker, or the opposite where just, I don't know what the opposite's doing exactly. Let me reset everything. Backspace, get rid of everything. 50 hardness, 100. Oh, okay, so it's not blurry. That's what it's doing here. So this is going to be very feathered edges. And then finally, force is going to, not sure what that does. Well, no force, you can't even see it. Okay, I think maybe this is like opacity. Let me see something here. I'm going to just actually quickly use my tablet if I can get it over to this screen. Let's see something. No. I was thinking that sometimes there is pressure points you can do with some software where I have a second screen that is a touch screen. So if I use the pen, sometimes on some software, if you push harder onto the screen, you can make like the paintbrush harder. But yeah, it seems like these are fairly simple tools. Let me actually see if I mess up the settings a lot, if we can click one of these buttons. Yep, we can, this button down at the bottom right, we reset all the values back to 0. So that's good. Now let's explore some other things. So that's the paintbrush. To change the color, oh, it's right here. We can just do standard color here. And this is nice. We can actually see the changes in the actual hues. So this is RGB, which represents red, green, blue. And this changes like how much blue, how much green, and how much red a color has. So if we go all the way to black, it's just 0 RGB because there's no color in it. But if we go all the white to white, this will be up all the way. Now, this is actually interesting because it's RGB, but showing like the yellow, magenta, cyan colors, which is for printing. So I don't know what's up with that, but let's say you see if we as we go across the hues, look at these three. It's like one goes up or down at a time, and this is how we get the different colors. So that's a good visualization to see how colors work together. Like if you go to yellow, that this yellow is pretty much red and green combined together with no blue. Blue, that's kind of obvious. Cyan is blue and green together. The purple, or here we go, like the purple, the violet is going to be blue and red together, and then so on. So we have the hex down here, or it's called, they call it HTML notations if you have the exact colors for your branding. And I'm assuming here these are our swatches. So if we color and then go back, it saves our colors for what we want. Or even, here we go, we can automatically pick a color palette by selecting it up here and clicking this little arrow, and it'll automatically shift a color into our palette. So we already have it at our disposal. That's really interesting. So next up, we have the eraser, which should be pretty straightforward. It has all the same settings as the normal paintbrush. So I'm not going to go into that. Let's make a new layer for our text. Okay. So we got a new layer for our text, and let's see this out. If GIMP has pretty good typography options. So I'm going to open this up. And I can see here, I always have like a shortcut here. We can change things around. So let me type our, it's not typing for me. Oh, here we go. Our, it's lagging. Or our title. See if we can change the fonts. Now, okay, here they go. I was kind of worried, like it's not popping up. But let's see what fonts we have. It's a little funky this. So let's just go over to the left side to do it normally. So our fonts, we click on here, we have a lot of them. So it's giving us a generic sans serif, but let's see what they have. They have some Adobe stuff. Can I expand this? No. Adobe, AR, Arial, of course, like I said, that's everywhere. Dini, Callisto, Century Gothic, Comic Sans. Yeah, this seems like a lot, definitely compared to Franklin Gothic. A lot compared to Garamond, Pixlr, Gill Sans. Yeah, it's a really good one, Gill Sans. So it does have quite the selection, which I'm happy about. Does it have Helvetica? Does it have a Helvetica in here? Universe or San Francisco? Those are just, I'm listing out some popular fonts. San Francisco. Did I pass it? Sans serif. No, it doesn't have it. San Francisco is what most social media uses. What was the other one I'm going to look for? Universe. Okay, so we have quite the selection. So let me actually just go with Century Gothic. And it has, um, now what these are, you have Century Gothic bold, bold italic, italic. So they have, for some of these fonts, they have the typeface settings in them. So the style and the weights. Now, by default, for example, let's actually go make this normal Century Gothic, and let's see if they have a bold option by default. We can bold that. Bold. Here we go. So this is by the default bold, but let's do the bold here and type out our, whoops. What is this? I did not want this to happen. Type our title. Unselect what is going on. Select. How do I get rid of this? I was on this tool before, so get out. Hide everything so we can move this. Select, deselect. I'm trying to find the deselect here. Store, none. Okay, there we go. So you see it's a little bit different. It's usually better to use the default typeface because it's actually designed for that font compared to just sort of not the default. I mean the typeface bold. That comes with its own font compared to just doing the bold option because you're going to get a better detailed version of it. But that's a small detail. Anyways, this is kind of weird. I like the font selection, but not having the best time with the actual editing with GIMP, which I don't like. Let's go Frankly Gothic book. This. Again, it's not letting me type. Okay. This is a sentence. Now let's try to change the font. Gabriel is changing it, the whole thing. And I don't like this. Well, I can see why they do this if you want to see the size of each character, but it is a little weird. Color, we don't have to highlight it, doesn't seem like. So if we change it now, is it going to change? Yes, it is. Green, justify, fix, dynamic. Okay, so dynamic will be useful, especially for selecting things. So good font, little weird editing. Gotta find the lock for this, which I don't like. Is this it? Or lock? Oh, lock here. Lock pixels, lock position. Perfect. So we have different lock options here. So I think we'll just go for this. Select. Oops. It's not letting me move it now. I wonder why. Okay, this is really not having the best time with this. Okay, here we go. Because it's text, but okay, we can't select it unless it's a whole box. It seems like. Let's do dynamic. Now try to move it. Okay, we can't move it unless the actual font is selected. Yeah, so I don't like that. What else can we do here? Let's stop doing this kind of stuff. I'm going to bring in an image to see what we can do. Show you some. I definitely see there's more tools than usual with the compared to Pixlr. So I'm just going to find an image quickly. Let's look up a scene from okay, this will be a good one. Okay, now we have an image. I'm just going to make a new layer and call this image, make it yellow. Go to File, Open, excuse me, desktop is it? Or where did I put it? Save. It's in Pictures. So we go to Pictures. No, that's a Rocky. It's the stock. Yes, this is it. So, oh, did it just? Okay, so it made its own thing like Photoshop. Okay, let's see if we can move it over. So it made its own file when we open it. Let's see if we can bring it to this one. Or no. Okay, let's see if we can move it. No. Is there an import option? Export, open, save as, open as layers. Okay, so we have to go open as layers if we want to bring in an image on its own instead of like this. So I'm just going to discard changes here. Now, say we have this photo that we want to edit, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So we took this really nice photo, but we want to remove or change an element. For example, let's say we have this guy's shirt and it's kind of green, it's blending in with the grass. We don't like that, especially if we're doing advertising. Not very appealing. So what we can do is go to, let's do a free select. So if you go to these scissors and then select the last, right click and select free select, we have an option to make a selection. So if we click and drag around the shirt, like you're just freehanding this, just gotta have a steady hand. So this is good if you have a very organic but simple shape like this shirt. Perfect. So now we selected that shape. Let's change the color. So if we go to maybe tools, filters, or layers, let's see where we can find the color. Color management, layers. Okay, there's only one called colors. Okay, let's do color balance to see if we can do something with this. So say if we want to make it blue, we'll put up the cyan, which is kind of making it yellow, but let's get rid of the yellow. Which we're really making it yellow. Oh, it's the opposite way. Okay, interesting. So we can do something like this to, I don't want it that strong. Maybe that's good. Okay. Now we have that blue shirt. And now let's decrease the contrast. This is pretty strong. So colors, brightness, contrast, and we're going to lower the contrast. or that's increasing it. Yeah, here we go. Or maybe even change the brightness a little. Okay, and now let's deselect. There we go. So we got a blue shirt on him now. So that's an easy way to change the color of someone in there. I think Pixlr had an option like that, but I'm not entirely sure. So there we go. So the selection tools are very helpful. So there's a couple other ones like scissor select, which let's go to this guy's red shirt. Let's see if this will work. Oh, wait. Okay. So scissor select, it seems like if you have a more jagged or geometric object, say like we want to change this light pole here, we can select the corners of it like this, bring it to the top, up, side. I don't like that one, kind of goofy. Let's close it up. But then can we change this? Yeah, if we click and drag, we can kind of change some of these things like control. Yeah, we can delete it. So I don't know exactly how to change this a little bump. So maybe this, I haven't used a tool like this before. So that is an option. Maybe don't use it. And how do we get out of this? Now I'm going to right click, select none to get rid of the selection. Let's see what else we got. A foreground select. So is it selecting the whole thing? Draw foreground, draw unknown. Don't want to do that. Select none. Okay, so I'm not sure about that tool. Is there, yeah, it's just the magic wand, fuzzy select. So this is for if you have a color, like in mine specifically, like say this man's red shirt, we can just select by color. Now it only selected a little part because we have to up the threshold here or the tolerance. So ooh, that took a little too much. So let's put the threshold down a little bit more. There we go, a solid part of the shirt. Still need more here. Okay, here we go. Now if we shift, we can add more. So we have this dark red part. So I'm going to lower the threshold a little bit and hold shift to add on to this current selection. So there we go. Let's get this up here and up there a little bit more. And yeah, we can keep adding. And now say accidentally we get his, whoops, get his jeans as well. It's like, oh no, we can either backspace or we can hold control and click and get rid of that stuff down here. Now we can also feather the edges or feather the edges for a smoother transition if you have something that's very, you don't have the exact edges. So let's actually do a little bit of that. Feather edges and make it very little. Now let's change his shirt. Let's make it a, let's say dark. Because he's in the background and this could be a little distracting. Like if this old man here is our focus, we don't want any distracting colors in the background. So let's go to colors and lower the saturation, which means we're getting rid of the color. So we're going to drop this down a little bit to make it a gray. And there we go. So we kind of dulled it a little bit. So that's a good tool to kind of limit, like maybe we can do it with this dude's shirt. We could, but, or this lady's shirt. We can remove focus from the background and maybe put emphasis on this old man or the guy in the striped blue shirt now. Let's see, what else can we do? We have the crop button that we can crop our images. I'm just scrolling up with my mouse. To zoom in and out, we have the magnifying glass, so we can go in, or we hold control, zoom out. Now, even though I haven't used this software before, I know how to do this because I've used Photoshop and other software, and they usually have the same rules across the board. So let's do some smudging with this little finger. Here we can create a little bit blend. Like, say, for example, we want, for whatever reason, to like blur this. We can just move some elements around like this, like literally smudge the image. Now, how I'm increasing the circle and decreasing it is with, on my keyboard, I'm using the bracket symbol. So the square bracket and the squiggly bracket. Excuse me. Now, this is the same thing with the paint brushes. So I'm going to go to my drawing levels. It's the same thing up and down. I can't draw here for some reason. Is my thing locked? Or maybe, yeah, here we go. It was hidden. Oh, excuse me. So one thing I just noticed that I didn't see now is this little panel here for alternative brushes. So this is a cool thing about GIMP, is that we have these extra brushes for like effects, like, oh, we can make the GIMP symbol. So they have some cool specialty brushes. And if you're doing it for design, I can't imagine it being that useful. But what else we got? We have textures. So that's interesting. Are these being used? Okay. We have some textures. We have some, here's just fonts, a quicker way to see fonts. And I guess this is our file library if you want to quickly click and drag some images in. But anyway, just noticed that. Now, let's say if we zoom in to our image that we're still editing, Z, so let's go in here and say we have an issue with, let me actually get an image of someone's face. No. I just realized I wasn't showing I wasn't showing what we were doing. That's not good. Whoops. Let me just quickly review. I was just talking with my camera. We all make mistakes. So what I did was pretty much was changing this guy's shirt by using the selection tool. Like in this lasso, we can go around this guy, go around his shirt, freehanding it. And then we can go into colors, color balance, and we can change the color here, like make it cyan. Well, let's kind of make it pink. Like this. Okay, that's a little too much saturation, so we're going to change it to saturation and drop it a little. And maybe get rid of some contrast. Contrast like this. Okay. That looks cool. And I changed this guy's shirt, and I was just playing around with some of the brushes. So it wasn't all that much. The magic wand tool is the other thing. If you want to select, say, all the grass or like this girl's shirt, like the pink, it goes by color. And we can change the threshold to change how much we want to take or how little. So let me get out of all the selection here. And I'm just going to double check to make sure I'm actually showing it. Very good. So the next thing we'll do, I'm going to grab another image of a face. Human face. And let me just take this guy. Now let me get someone who's not so perfect. Okay, this guy here. Save, it's an AVIP file. So let me see if it takes an AVIP file. Open as layer. Modified. Okay, it does. It does take AVIP. Whoops. Don't want to do that. None. So we got this man's face here. Now, say we want to use this for a website or whatever, but we kind of want to perfect it a little. Like we don't like his mustache. So what we got here is the spot healing tool, the little band-aid. And if we zoom in a little bit, magnifying, on his, what did I do? Oh, I really zoomed in, didn't I? Here we go. So if we go here, and I'm going to lower it a little bit. I'm just going to spot heal slash area here, like draw on it. Does it do anything? Brush. I want it to be a full brush. Yeah, this is it. Okay, here we go. Full brush here. Now I'm going to draw. Size. Oops. I want to see how this works because it should like cover it up and like do content aware stuff, but it's not. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. It's normally a band-aid. I'm looking around. I'm just right-clicking on these tools to get some extra options. Dang it, I wanted to show this off because it's kind of cool. Like you can do content healing, align. This is not working for me. Is something like disabled or something? Because I got the negative sign on right now. Select all. Select none. So let me change that. Drawing. See if we can do it to the drawing. Still no. Okay, I don't know what's going on with that. So that's unfortunate. So what normally you can do is like you can remove part of the image and like replace it. Like if we just cover up this whole like mustache, it will just replace it with normal skin. So that's a cool way to like fix like blemishes or unwanted details to whatever image you're retouching. Oh, what else can we do here? I do like in GIMP, we have all these settings, like we can do the colors. Let me pull up the image here again. We can blur, like blur part of the image. So let's go to radial blur if they have it. Let's go lens blur. So presets, turn on, none. Let's just click it. Let's see, lens blur. Okay. It's disappearing. Tools, blur to focus blur. Okay, this is better. So like if we really want to focus on the man, we can do that. So if we, this circle will change like which part is clear. So let's make it a little bit bigger and move it towards him completely. Now this inner circle will be like the, or this outer circle will be like the extent of like outside here is like going to be the full blur. And we're going to shrink this here to make a better transition. And let's lower the blur a little bit, like the strength. There we go. Okay. So, whoops. I want that over here. Blur is a little too strong, so we can get rid of it by, let's make a high quality, lowering the blur radius. Okay. Perfect. So this is a good way to make some focus on the image. Looks like it did it for the whole canvas, not just our image of the park. So that's something to keep in mind. It's not just for the layer. What else can we do? Hands, edge, artistic render, distort. Not a whole lot. Unfortunately now, just to go in a little bit of GIMP, it is free. It is a software, so you can only use it on a desktop computer. I think you can use it with Mac. Let me just double check. Can you use GIMP on Mac? Yes, okay. So it has to be on a computer, which you download. So unfortunately, if you're interested in something mobile or something on a tablet, this is not going to be for you. What I do like about this is the variety of filters and layers on here, which they seem somewhat straightforward, maybe a little bit too many options for someone who's not a full-on designer, who just wants to do basic changes. Like if we go to, say, hue chroma, let's see, like this could be a little overwhelming, just how it's designed, even though there's not many options like preset, and a little too many options. Also with the bar as well. So not a huge fan of this, but I like the amount of options there are, but I just don't like how it's presented. That it can be a little overwhelming. I do like the amount of fonts, especially compared to what we did with Pixlr yesterday, which had almost none, but a lot of display fonts, but not a lot of the standard serif, sans serif fonts. But that was a little wonky to use. The tools, some of the tools I didn't really get a good chance to figure out. And if I can't figure it out, you guys won't be able to, which I don't like. So when I'm looking for software and websites or stuff that's you will be able to figure out on your own without help, because that's eventually where you want to get to, where you're totally in control and you know what you're doing, whatever tool you're using, and you don't have to rely on someone else to do it for you. So I don't like putting in advanced software on you, having to learn on top of everything else you're doing or learning. So I believe in simplicity. Keep it as minimum as possible what you want to do. So right now I'm leaning towards not liking GIMP as much. I'd say the only two things that I really care for right now is I forget if Pixlr actually has the selection tools. So there's that that GIMP has. There's the amount of fonts, and you can save it. And there's no ads. You can save it. Like if you to save as, we'll just put it on my desktop. Type in test file from GIMP. So saving as an XCSL. Let's see if we can change that file format. Show all files. No. This is just to save a file of like this thing. So if we were to close and open it back up, we can have all our layers. It's not just an image. So make sure you save your stuff. But if you want to export it, you're ready to put it on the internet, just go here, save a copy. Or is there an export button? Export, here we go. Export as. And now it's saving it as a PNG. PNGs will be good. So you just export it and it's normal. You can do that infinite amount of times. So it is open source. I do like that. I just think this is a little complex and a little too bizarre in some areas for a normal person. Even for me, I know some people, especially designers, love this stuff, love this GIMP, but for what we're doing here, I'm not a big fan of it. So I think I'm going to leave it off here because I don't think I will continue with GIMP unless I figure something else out. Wait a second. Pull up my screen here. We have a lot more to go through. Photoshop alternatives, which I'll be going through tomorrow and the rest of the week, next week. So we're definitely experimenting. We're exploring. Had a little hiccup not showing my screen. It's going to happen again with all this anytime you live stream. So I think we're going to leave it off here with GIMP. So I want to thank you guys for watching and take care, dudes.